when you are all alone.
A really good opening, whether it's to a novel or a video essay or a video game, should be something that does its best to encapsulate the themes explored by the larger story. And the intro to classic Fallout in 1997 is something like a masterclass in how to achieve this in only a single shot. We start out watching a broadcast that intercuts this hyper-consumerist imagery with propaganda and footage of American soldiers committing atrocities. And as the camera pulls back, we see first that we're actually looking at a television set, and then that the TV is inside of an abandoned building in the middle of a bombed-out city. It's a fairly simple sequence, but within that simplicity lies a comprehensive story about the downfall of a civilization that collapsed beneath the accumulated weight of its own consumption and waste and propensity for war, and every detail is very deliberately timed to serve this narrative. We see the words "buy war bonds" just as the full scope of destruction around us becomes apparent, and if you listen closely, the music starts to echo right as we see this hole in the wall, telling us it's coming from somewhere else in the building. The themes explored by the game are all laid out right here, even down to the way the camera moves, this slowly expanding picture that continually recontextualizes the original image is reflective of the way Fallout tells its story, with layers of revelation that we encounter as we go out and explore the wastes. And the retro-futurist aesthetic raises questions about the world completely independent from the game's central mystery. We see commercials for robot assistants and footage of soldiers with futuristic power armor, but the television set and surrounding decor look like something you'd see in your grandmother's apartment. And the music, which is coming off an old record player, is a song called Maybe that was recorded in the 1940s. This world is intriguing even before we find out it's been destroyed. There's a certain richness to the setting of Fallout that really distinguishes it from other, more generic post-apocalyptic stories, and this comes from a very multi-layered approach to the world building. The setting of Fallout isn't just post-apocalypse. The first game starts about 100 years after a nuclear apocalypse, which itself took place in the future. And not just the future, but the future as it was envisioned by people in the 1940s and 50s. That's why there are robots and laser guns, but the music and visual aesthetics are more reminiscent of the mid-20th century. Eventually, after who knows how long, the power to the building finally goes out. The TV dies, and the record player skips a few times, then winds down, and this is the scene we're left with for a few seconds before the lights fade and Ron Perlman comes in with the now iconic "War Never Changes" monologue.
In 2077, the storm of World War had come again. In 2 brief hours, most of the planet was reduced to cinders. And from the ashes of nuclear devastation, a new civilization would struggle to arise. A few were able to reach the relative safety of the large underground vaults. Imprisoned safely behind a large vault door, under a mountain of stone, a generation has lived without knowledge of the outside world. Life in the vault is about to change.
Ah, you're here. Good. We've got a problem. A big one. The controller chip for our water purification system has given up the ghost. Can't make another one. The process is too complicated for a workaround system. Simply put, we're running out of drinking water.
As inciting incidents go, this one is pretty simple and really just a pretext to get you out exploring the wasteland, but it's a problem that carries a lot of thematic importance to the story. The vaults could only ever have been a temporary solution to the problems we're creating for ourselves, and now that solution is starting to break down. The title of Fallout refers to, yes, the radiation that's poisoned the world since the Great War, but also to the consequences of our decisions, both the choices we make throughout the game and to the collective short-sightedness that brought us here. A narrative that changes as the result of viewer actions is a form of storytelling relatively unique to video games, and to RPGs in particular, where you have to be the one to make the decisions and live with the results throughout the rest of your playthrough. And one of the ways the Fallout franchise has always highlighted this is with the multiple endings that make for a really effective epilogue, letting the player reflect on the decisions they made along their own individualistic journey. Incidentally, I don't think anything in any video game I've ever played has made me feel like as much of a monster as the ending to New Vegas if you finish the game without helping Rex.
Having never received a replacement brain, Rex finally succumbed to old age, abruptly shutting down forever one quiet morning. After 2 centuries of life and decades of service to humanity, Rex collapses and dies.
But we were talking about beginnings. The opening to classic Fallout was so effective at setting the tone for the game to follow that aspects of it have been imitated by basically every installment in the franchise since. The War Never Changes monologue, this slowly expanding shot that adds context to the original image. Is this still called a dolly shot, by the way, when you're panning across animation and there's no actual physical dolly? I don't know terminology. I haven't been to film school, and I'm a fraud. To be frank, many of these have been shallow imitations that really seem to have no understanding of how or why these images being revealed in this way tells a story, but others have also expanded on the original concept or played off these established expectations in some interesting ways. If I'm being honest though, I don't think any of them have ever hit me quite like that final interrupted note of maybe echoing out across the dead city at the start of that first game. The one that comes closest is Fallout 2, and it does so not by imitating the style of the original opening, but by essentially turning it on its head. It starts with another Voltec commercial, but this time we begin with the surroundings before coming in on the video, and rather than a scene of devastation, we're in a clean-looking presentation room with an intercom system and electric fans. The Voltec video is being shown on a working projector because the people watching it are about to pay a visit to a vault. The point of view shot of them approaching from the outside mirrors that of you leaving at the start of the first game. The doors slide back to reveal people silhouetted from inside, and then... One of the things I really respect about Fallout 2 is the way it overturns so many of the things we thought we knew from the first game while still remaining largely true to the spirit of what Fallout is. In a lot of ways, it feels like the game is trying to one-up the first Fallout at every turn, and it does so more successfully in some places than in others, but beginning with the new villains rolling up and massacring the vault you spent all that time working to save in the previous game is an incredible opening statement for what Fallout 2 seeks to accomplish. This is what the proper sequel to a completed story should look like. But that's a topic for another video. Thank you for watching.
An atomic spark struck by human hands quickly raged out of control. Spears of nuclear fire rained from the skies. Continents were swallowed in flames and fell beneath the boiling oceans. Humanity was almost extinguished, their spirits becoming part of the background radiation that blanketed the Earth. A quiet darkness fell across the planet, lasting many years.